Hello and welcome to another Primavera P6 lesson by Global Project Control. In this session, we want to talk about two different things. Things about that you have the project on Microsoft Project and you want to import it to the Primavera P6 and create it the Primavera P6 project. But as we know that the creation of project with Microsoft Project is easier than Primavera P6. So maybe at the initiation stage, you need to perform some action on the Microsoft project and then convert the data to the P6. Then activity ID could be challenge for you. Because the activity ID procedure in Microsoft project is totally different with Primavera P6. So I will show it to you how you can implement the activity ID on the Microsoft project and then import it to the Primavera P6 by mapping. And also, if you forgot to mapping the things, you can import the data to the Primavera P6 and update your activity ID based on your procedures. But before we start, be careful. If you assign the baseline to the project like this, then the activity ID is the connection between your current project and baseline project. So if you change your activity ID, then you will lose the connection between your baseline and your current project. Be careful about this change. You need to save all the logs and keep it because it is serious update for each of project. But maybe during the project life cycle, due to some changes on the scope and other things, we need to do it. Let's start. Here we have a project which created by Microsoft project. For time saving, I created before, and now I want to add a text column. Here I want to add a text column. Let me to insert it. Then, as you see, we have some space over here. So, I'm going to split the page, screen, and this project will be used for these IDs. This project information is exactly this project. So, I need to implement the ID according to this project. I'm going to add the IDs to each of activities. Only do the copy and paste to the Microsoft project. Now we have a project, but one ID. Should be here. Now we have a project with activity ID, which we can use for Primavera P6 too. So you need to save this project and then create a save as. On the desktop, I'm going to save XML format because it is applicable for Primavera P6. Then you need to save the project and leave it. You need to go to the Primavera P6 and go to the file, import. Import the Microsoft project by XML. Then next. Select the import file. Here is the XML file and we want to import it to the enterprise section. So, to go to the next, Over here you have two mapping. Go to the modify. All the tabs are important, but we don't want to discuss about other tabs. Go to the custom field mapping, and over here on the activity section you need to do the mapping by use the text in the text 1. It means that all the information on the text 1 field for Microsoft project will be imported to the text field in the Primavera P6. So here is the mapping. If you want to perform the mapping for other field, you need to first select the criteria from the list box and then perform the mapping. For instance, text 2 on the Microsoft project, if I import some important data to the text 2, but during this import I will lose the data because I did not map these two items together. So I need to press OK, go to the next, and waiting for the software result. It's not take too much time. Now project completed successfully. We need to close it and go to the open the project. Here you can open the project. Now the project is open and we can go to the detail. As you see, instead of proper activity ID, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbering. Then if you go to the columns and on the user defined field looking for text field based on our mapping, then import it in the right side of activity ID. You can find that the activity ID imported to the Primavera P6. So over here you need to go to the tools. On the global change you need to write one global change, where without any condition on the activity section, then activity ID should be equal to the text. Then press the change. As you see, here is the old value and here is the new value. If you commit the change, then you will find that all the activity ID going to be imported like this. Here is the end of first solution by update activity ID in the Primavera P6 between Microsoft project and Primavera P6 by mapping between two software. But if you forgot to import the data on the Primavera P6, how you can handle it? For instance, think about that we don't have any activity ID over here on the text 1. I remove all of them by the fill down. Then I go to the file and export it. For the spreadsheet, on the activity section, I create a new item and remove any extra information. Only I want to add activity ID and add a text over here. Then you need to go to the next and save this file over here. Then you need to open the file over here. After the file is open, you need to split the screen like this, and I want to add the activity ID on the text field. How can I perform it? For instance, think about that. I want to add the activity ID by VLOOKUP. I want to looking the value from here up to here, then add a value exactly like what I have. Then on the end of this activity ID, I want to add 001. So I add a concatenate over here. This is the first text. The second one is 001 with dash. Then here the new activity ID, which I have it. Now I imported the new activity ID to my database. But how? It is Excel. Okay. Let's copy the file, paste it as a value, then save it, and I'm going to import the data. Please look at the text. By a spreadsheet, you need to select the file, select the activity section, select the project, because maybe more than one project is already open, and after that finish the item and waiting for the result. If you look at the text column, you can find that after the result is appear, import was successful, I have the new activity ID with dash 001 in the text field. I need to perform the global change to import the data. Don't worry, if you forgot to import the activity ID by mapping between Primavera P6 and Microsoft project, you can easily import it by Excel. But be careful, activity ID is the connection between your current project and your baseline project. If you want to perform this change, be careful and save all of your log. Thank you for watching Global Project Control.
I hope this lesson is useful for you. Please keep in touch with my LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for further lesson. Also, you can visit my website www.globalprojectcontrol.com in order to find all of my lessons and courses in the same time. Thank you for your subscription at my YouTube channel.